Look, I don't want to be an alarmist, but people died in the early 90s. You know what I mean? People were driven out of their home country. People were forced into refugee camps in a country that also didn't want them, but ultimately granted them the opportunity to have some land. But given that history and given the lack of a clear commitment to their safety and to their, repatriating that country, like they don't have papers, they don't have documents, they don't have the ability to live freely in that space. I think we as America have to really consider what we're doing. Like, and to level set this too, we've never deported a refugee from Bhutan back to Bhutan. The first 10 went on the first plane there to Paro, which is, it's unprecedented because we don't deport this population. They go through the legal process here in the States. They get their due process, and just like anyone else would go through our legal system, they go through our legal system. And the challenge is when you have a refugee and you make them a refugee again, like there's a lot of questions of international law. There's a lot of questions of whether or not there's human rights violations. And obviously, when you ask what I'm most concerned about them not having resources and not being able to take care of themselves, or I'm concerned potentially about violence being done to them in that vulnerable state.
And so do you think this is a crisis to these refugees now?
100%, I think it's a crisis, and I think it's a crisis that we could easily avoid by just hitting the pause button and ensuring that we have proper relations with Bhutan before sending these individuals.
Do you think that Congressman Perry and the U.S. senators for Pennsylvania are doing enough to make sure that the rights of these people are being respected?
Look, I've written letters to our federal delegation. I've written a letter to the governor. I'm thankful for the governor's statement on this matter. I've come to the conclusion that we really need this to not be a partisan issue. This is not a partisan issue. This is people. And so while Perry and I might sit on different sides of the aisle, I'm thankful for his meeting with the Bhutanese community, where he met with them. And my understanding is what's in process is that he's working with ICE and DHS to get a sit-down meeting with the Bhutanese community to get some more understanding of the criteria, to get some more understanding of those details. And I'm hopeful that can happen this week, because this is an urgent matter and it needs to happen this week. And I will just ask that, Congressman Perry, approach this with that level of urgency.